Solterion looks interesting. How complicated is the system to learn? That is such a loaded question. A little backstory, this is the TTRPG that got me started on TTRPGs in general, and it's incredibly hard to find. So much so that if you found one, I'd be questioning how it took me months and years to find this one. Back in the ye olden days when I was a good Christian boy before I knew what the LGBT even was, I won this book and basically this entire set as a PDF copy and this physical copy that was signed by the author on a Christian gaming Facebook group. This entire series was built as a Christian fantasy series made to give Christians a godly alternative to typical fantasy settings. Because at the time, I think Game of Thrones had just gotten, massively big, so there was a big push for Christian fantasy at the time. Ahem. This next section comes out of a TTRPG love. I am actually mutuals with the author here on TikTok, so I'm sorry! It feels like a D&D 2nd edition, reskin with a Christian fantasy overture to it. It's not overtly bad in any way, shape, or form, but it definitely feels like a dated RPG of its time that came out about 20 years too late. If I'm being honest, this feels much more like a setting guide than it does an actual RPG, because there's a lot of RPG stuff that goes on in this, but it definitely feels like it's putting way more thought and effort into the actual world building itself, the guilds, the locations, the races, than anything else. But ironically, the setting itself is where the mechanics of the game fall short because the mechanics are held back by the setting limitations. The Magi, for which the series gets its name, Rise of the Magi, is actually just kind of like an artificer stand-in, but that artificer stand-in gets way more privileged class-wise. Like 3 pages of items, features, and class explanation, whereas most other classes get half a page, including art. And the races of the game actually aren't that bad, all things considered. Unlike most RPG series, there's only 2 explicitly evil races, and one of them is literally the devil. It's literally a race that is all just devil, Satan, Lucifer. And the other's a group of people who have fallen away, who have committed evil acts, who can come back at any point by seeking forgiveness, salvation through, God. There is a questionable thing about that character race's skin being turned gray with sin as they do evil acts, but then that's a little but that feels par for the course for Christian fantasy anything. Again, this isn't overtly bad, it's just much better setting book because there are a lot of other games that do exactly what this wants to do, but way better. Specifically, Homebrew World if you want something that's more story-based with a little bit of mechanic, or Pathfinder 2nd Edition if you want a little bit of story stuff with your mechanics. Which is ironically where this kind of fits in.